Disclaimer, all available content in this awareness session is for positive lifestyle management purposes. Positive lifestyle management does not advocate or support gang banging, drug selling or usage, violence, or any negative actions, behavior, or attitude against men, women, or children. Our platform is for the uplifting of fallen humanity. The following video that you are about to watch is from Positive Lifestyle Management's Blueprint Study Group. The topic was the forks of life. It was an interesting topic, and I would like to thank all the brothers and sisters who participated in the study group. We look forward to having more brothers and sisters in our next study group. So sit back, watch, and learn. Look, learn, and listen as we've been taught. Let's get to it.
I was homeless, I didn't have a house, sleeping in my car outside my friend's house. He walked out, said come inside, while you sleeping in your ride. You know it's cold outside, can't eat food, ain't no place to live. Good advice, you better than better, so get on the grind. Don't give up my nigga, you destined to shine, get on your feet, nigga.
We introduced the topic for the day, which is in chapter 3, page 30, the forks of life. So we're gonna allow Brother Daloon to open up and we'll go from there. We'll open up the discussion, the blueprint session discussion, and we'll go from there. While Daloon is speaking, we'll all have our mics on mute so we're not interrupting him. And if anybody wanna speak, the best thing to do would be to go in and raise your hand, then we'll get to you. So let's keep everything respectful. All right, let's go.
All right. Love y'all. First off, the biggest thing that I want to speak on, when we're talking about the forks of life, is having an understanding of what those forks represent. Now, in the book, it spoke of them as in relation to the proverbial fork in the road, which points out two specific things. And if you read the chapter and familiarize yourself with it, two of those things were change and choices. Now, from the time you were born, and the book also speaks on this, from the time you were born, you began the stages of growth and development, really before you were born in your mother's womb. From the moment of conception, growth and development took process. So that tells us no matter what we do, we can't step outside of the concepts and the laws that govern growth and development, not as long as we're living. And even in death, our bodies continue and grow until they deteriorate. So growth and development is a cycle that never stops, which means you will forever be a student of this thing. Now, the more we embrace and understand the process of growth and development, we'll understand the forks of life, because we understand that with our growth and development, we'll be met with continuous and constant crossroads and choices. Now, even in the beginning, when you chose to pick up this book and to read it, or to join this organization, or to become a part of anything you've made a conscious decision to become a part of, you were faced with a crossroad and a choice. So as you make these choices in your life, just like the organization moving from a old to a new, from a negative to a positive, you have to make these choices based on knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. Those are at the base, where it sits at, where it's firmly planted, is in wisdom. Just like your heels. So now, anyway, as we move forward and we're looking at this thing and we've been growing, we've been developing, we've been all met with choices to move positively or move negatively. Now, the organization has been branded. The whole world knows Gangster Disciple as a negative entity. You even have some of our membership that believe we are a negative entity. But the truth of the matter is, through lack of understanding, we involved ourselves in negative things, although our roots were built for positive measure. So as we find our way back from that negativity that we all took part in, or most of us took part in, we're met with that choice. Am I going to embrace this newfound concept? Or am I going to stick with what I know leads to death, destruction, chaos, misham, all these things, nothing beneficial? Or am I going to embrace these teachings, laws, and policies and move forward and let those things guide me into making these positive, productive measures that brings about community unity? So looking on, where is it at? Okay, looking on towards how we can, going back to when we spoke on how can we allow the public to see who and what we're about while maintaining our uniqueness as an organization. The book also explains to us that the only possible way to do that is by each and every individual embracing these teachings and concepts themselves and becoming a reflection of what they've learned and what they're built upon. So it is your actions that are what should be public, not your concept and your ideologies. It's you are the walking example of what this nation is built upon. It's not about having debates on Facebook or social media on who knows this and who knows that and spit your this and spit your that. That's also why they say we know our brothers by what they do and not what they say. So within us now, like I said, as a whole, we're all met every day with these crossroads. Do I want to hold myself and my brother accountable? Do I want to turn a blind eye and continue to do what we do and straddle this fence and move in a fraudulent manner? Or do I really want to embrace these teachings and move forward positive, productive, and grow and help my nation grow and to help my brothers and sisters grow? Do I want to go out here and slang this pack and make these fast dollars, or do I want to go punch somebody's clock and make sure I come home tonight? Those are the choices that are going to differentiate those that are following the vision and following the teachings, or trying to achieve the vision and following the teachings, or those that are still caught up in their corruptive nature. Now, I'm gonna pass it over to Brother Fee for a quick second, if he don't mind, because I love the way you bring it in. We talked about it the other day, and you explained it in a manner in which I found on a more of an educational approach, so to speak.
All right. All right, brothers and sisters. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start from chapter 3, Forks of Life, in the blueprint. So we as a group can break it down and give our levels of understanding on what this means. So that way we all can be on the same page. it says, chapter 3, the forks of life, a crossroad. So we all understand what a crossroad is. It's just like when we out there driving. There's a crossroad there. If you got 4 sections, there's a crossroad. Even if you got 2 sections, there's a crossroad. Upon being introduced to the teachings of growth and development, in the blueprint, it teaches us that growth and development is lifestyle management. That's what's in the blueprint. That's what it teaches us, that growth and development is lifestyle management. We find ourselves at the crossroad in our lives. So now, we at a crossroad, and this crossroad is this here. Either we can be positive or we can be negative. This is the crossroad. This is the decision that we have to make. This was asked of us in 1981 when we came into the new concept. Now we are moving from a negative to a positive. Under the old concept, the cross forks represented a negative way of life. We crossed them up on our chest in order to show allegiance to a gang's turf. We tattooed the cross forks on our arms, chests, etc., in order to show a rebellious, defiant attitude towards society's laws and rules. Prime example, I got the cross forks right here on my arm, and I've been had this tattoo since 1978. And I was 11 years old when I got this tattoo. So this is what it represented at that time. We boldly stated that we were outlaws belonging to a criminal mob. Many have killed and died representing the negative aspects of the cross forks. Some of us even went as far as to believe the cross forks were the sign of evil. Now, we all know this here. They have a lot of bogus stuff that's floating around out here in the streets. You know what I'm saying? A lot of bogus paperwork that's floating in the street. And in some of this paperwork, they have us labeled as attached to something that's evil, the devil. They have us attached to the devil sticking God in the eye with the pitchfork. They have us attached to all this stuff. And this is clearly said right here in the blueprint. They mistakenly have even connected us with this here. They are not, mind you, they are not. However, such a negative view and insane belief justified our passion in the execution of crime. Now, it is time to turn all this around and live according to the true meaning of the forks of life. Would anybody like to dialogue on that? Have anything they would like to say on that?
If
Where we at?
okay, nah, this strong, brother, strong.
Okay. Oh, hold on, brother Strong. All right, listen, brothers and sisters. There's no right. There's right. There's no wrong answers in this here. There's only right answers. We are a team. We make the team. I don't want to fall into teacher mode. I don't want Brother Strong to fall into teacher mode. We are all in this together. Iron sharpens iron and man sharpens man. And in this case, man and woman sharpens each other. So we are a team in this here. So you all have to help me as well, because I don't know everything. I have some experience, but there still may be y'all have more experience than me in other sessions. So we have to grow in this together. This is how we study together. We build together. So don't think that you just in student mode. No, you are in teacher's mode as well, because we all teaching each other. Brother Strong?
Okay, yeah, just riding in on that. If we go back and we look at what it said was the true meaning of the forks of life, these 6 principles that If they wrong about thinking that it's negative and that it's evil, then the true meaning must be that it's positive and productive and righteous. So there are things that are laying there that if we just pay attention to them, not just read them so I can say, hey, I read the book, but to really look at things that are being suggested, the unspoken words that's on the page. You know, even when you read this book, it'll speak about a lot of unspoken things that you've adapted, and that's your ability to comprehend. So like the brother was saying when he said, there are no right or wrong answers in the sense of, hey, this is what I understand it to mean. We have a truth that's constant no matter what. But the measures of understanding just simply say where you are and how you're moving in your understanding of what we're trying to do. So as he said, iron sharpen iron, and you are facing a crossroads right now in making the decision of whether I'm gonna speak or whether I'm gonna sit here and listen. So are you gonna represent them forks of life and participate and let us hear what you're talking about? Or you gonna fold back and fall back? But anyway, I pass the mic.
I'll speak because I seen the brother Pee Wee, he had his hand raised. So it's a button, it's a reaction button on your phone or either on your computer, whatever you're using, that if you push that reaction button, it'll raise your hand. It'll show me that your hand is raised. All right, I see you, brother.
Can you see? Can you hear me, brother? Can you hear me? Okay. I want to expound on this false life, right? From a different, because you know, under my condition, as you can see, my condition, I want to explain to you that we have class that we spoke about this before. We spoke about the foundation for our organizational structure for us dealing as a man, not just looking at what we got, you know, our pieces, but looking at us as a man. Do we measure up to the standards of the five that we say we believe in? And it came all the way back down to no matter what your faith is, you need to have a God foundation to start in the beginning, to start having anything positive to happen in your life. So when we start applying these forks of life, you know, all 3 L's, you know, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, it all running, coinciding, everybody moving the same in unison together. Right now, as far as like us building more with one another in communities, instead of worrying about who know more and whatever, everybody build iron sharpen iron, we'll do better. That's the way we look at it. You know, that's the way we look at it, from being the people that created a lot of negative into the community, which is, you know, only people that can reconcile what's going on is the ones that made the wrong choices. So that's what my understanding of the forks of life, putting everything back together and having an understanding. And that's where the 720 come in, having the understanding that you can do better and work together.
Brother Faris.
I would like to go to that way it says that in here where it says that the forks of life, they are not evil. I was taught that, like, just to teach force by itself, if you go back in history, that, you know, it was also taught that it was also known as the holy traded. You know what I mean? It was basically the representation, you know, representing like in a holy manner, in a godly manner, basically. That's what I want to elaborate on right there. Can you hear me?
Your voice is muffled, like, but we can hear you.
Okay, then. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Just go with what you got.
Okay. This main thing is, I just want to elaborate on let everyone know that when I read this chapter, when it goes to that section right there, that you just read where it says that the force of life, the forces are not evil. That's what I think about, I think about the history of what it was known called the Holy Trident. It was a godly instrument, basically. That's what I was just want to lay out right there for everyone.
Anyone else like to share your thoughts on this issue? Anyone else would like to share their thoughts on this issue? Brother Emmanuel? You can't hear you, brother. Anybody else want to share their thoughts until the brother come back? Come on, sister. Sister Hannah, come on. What's your thoughts? We can't hear you, brother. All right. Until he get his mic fixed, I'm gonna take the floor until he get his mic fixed. If ain't nobody else got anything to say. Anybody else have anything to say? Anybody else would like to add to this here? Okay, sister. That's what I'm talking about.
No, you go.
Okay. I mean, just what y'all been building up about, I think it's important to remember, and it's something I notice y'all always point out, which is growth and development starts before you even are born. Like you're growing and developing when the cells start splitting and you're in the womb, you're growing and developing from that point. So it's like once you're actually born, basically the idea that growth and development starts before you're born and it's never going to stop. They say energy isn't destroyed, it just changes. Like that's like a law in thermodynamics and science. And that's deep because that's a part of growth and development. If energy is never destroyed and it only changes, we're talking about the evolution of energy. Growth and development is the evolution of your body, but also of your mind and consciousness as well. And the more you start to realize that, you're like, man, I'm always in motion. Everything's in motion. There's constant movement in the stars, in the planets, the way the earth rotates around the star, the way we spin on an axis, everything is in constant movement. Everything is supposed to be changing. As soon as things become stagnant, that's when things break down into chaos. Like in music, there's harmony and there's order. Those things come from the changing progressions of chords. And you could add all this up with mathematics too, if you really wanted to, but at the end of the day, it always boils back down to change, to growth and development, evolution. And so as you become more aware, you're more able, I think somebody earlier was saying that sometimes you can't, the way I took it was almost like they were saying, sometimes you may not even be able to see the forks in the road if you're not even already have a solid foundation. And that's the problem, because if we don't even realize that we're organisms and beings, physical beings, but spiritual beings that are growing and developing, that means there's a whole world out here that we're not seeing. So it's like tunnel vision, right? And tunnel vision is real comfy for people because inside the tunnel, you just see the light at the end of the tunnel. And, it seems harmless. It's kind of like, well, the light's good, right? Because the light is truth and enlightenment and righteousness and all of these things that we hold to be good. But when people just get caught up staring at the light at the end of the tunnel, if you're not moving through the tunnel out of it, you don't see the whole world that's on the outside of the tunnel. You just see that one vision of the light at the end. And if you have that kind of vision, usually due to your surroundings or the fact that you don't realize that this growth and development plays a part in our awareness and our consciousness, then for those people that can't get outside of the tunnel, they're never going to even be able to see these forks, you know, because from their perspective, they don't even exist. So I feel like growth and development is super important, you know, not just understanding what the forks of life represent, but understanding the aspect of what y'all been saying, that we're growing and developing the whole time. This isn't something that stops. And when we have that awareness, it enables us to see the forks of life. And I feel like some forks of life are evil, not the symbols, of our organization. That's very clear, and we understand the propaganda behind that. Like you said, the devil's pitchfork stabbing the eye of God and all this crazy stuff. So not in the sense of our organization. The forks of life is very clear what they represent. But some of these forks of life are not established by us. They're forks that have been established by higher powers that are outside of our control. And so that's where shit gets real scary, because they're on some next level shit where they don't want your body, they want your mind. You know, there's only so much they could do with your body. They already tried that form of slavery, right? So if you can get people to start thinking a certain way, then they enslave themselves. And so they set up forks that are invisible to the masses. And that's why it's important that we stand on our six, because the big six is, at the end of the day, that's what's going to help us to, like you said, to lead by example. The world is just a mirror image. There's a lot of injustices in the world. There's a lot of things that take place in the world, and they're very upsetting. Sometimes we lose sleep over some of these things, but at the end of the day, there's only so much we could do, because some of these things are way outside of our control. But what we can do, the honorable chairman left us behind with the big six, because like the other brother was saying earlier, like that's what we can do. Those are the tools that are left behind for us to be able to actually make a change. And once every one person makes a change, at least this is how they frame it in the philosophical ideologies of the Eastern traditions, like Lao Tzu and the Tao Te Ching, he breaks down that, and it really resonated with me when I read about this in the Tao Te Ching. Lao Tzu existed in China like 500 years before Christ. And he said that there's no actual war to be fought on the outside. All the fighting is done in here. And once you actually change yourself from the inside out, and every individual starts to do that, the world starts to change around us. And that's the power that we have. But if we're not utilizing that, there's no way for many to even realize that they're coming to a fork in the road to begin with. And so that's what makes, for me anyway, that's what makes the blueprint so amazing, because it's kind of like saying to people that have struggled, here's some tools. You know, these are what the forks of life are about, but you can use these tools to see the many forks, not just in your life, but these ones that have been placed there to ensnare you.
That goes with the second paragraph, though. Everything that you just said, and I think our brother DeLune is going to break down that second paragraph on page 30, because everything that you just said goes right into the second paragraph. Where you at, brother DeLone? Brother Strong?
All right, my bad. All right, so when we look at the second paragraph, it says, under the new concept, the forks of life represent the physical and spiritual/mental side of man. Our teachings are universal in the sense that everyone on earth is confronted with crossroads throughout his or her life. You have heard the proverbial saying, a fork in the road. Well, when people use that term, they are talking about crossroads in his or her life. The forks of life represent the crossroad in our lives from the beginning to the end. Growth and development in the beginning of one's life is natural and unimpeded. At birth, the power to grow and develop is instilled in us and nurtured and stimulated. Nurtured and stimulated by environment. All right, so and it speaks on that with the first level of growth and development beginning in the mother's womb when the cells join and so on and so forth. Now, the thing about a person not knowing that there's a fork there before them, it does lead to a certain mental state of ignorance, which is when you become old enough to know the difference of right and wrong. Most of us aren't taught how to make proper choices, but we know we have a choice in either I want to participate or I don't. This don't feel right, I ain't going with it, or I'm gonna do it because of so on and so forth. But this is all based on what principles we stand upon. Like you said, we all got to stand on that 6. So if I'm going to stand on that 6, which is, love, life, loyalty, knowledge, wisdom, understanding, then my heel should be firmly planted in wisdom. The only way to get to wisdom is applying the knowledge that you have learned. So, which means you have to be taught, you have to seek, you have to do all the things in order to attain the knowledge. Other than that, it's the blind leading the blind. So you're met with a choice even then, because like I said, you're put into the world, growth and development has started, but also so has choices. When you cry out and you realize that it's making people run to you, now you got a choice to make. Am I going to sit here and be hungry? Or am I going to cry out and get some attention? Or am I going to cry out to get picked up? Or am I going to cry out to do this? Then you start to crawl. You get tired of crawling on your knees. You begin to pull yourself up on the coffee table. All of these things are choices. And throughout your life, you've been making them choices and have decided to either move forward or remain stagnant, which all of us being here in this meeting say we've all chose to move forward. Many people, because there's also a point where it says failing to plan is planning to fail. Many people don't properly prepare themselves because they haven't been taught how. Like I said, we all know we make choices on a daily basis. That's all the forks of life represent, is your choices that move in between your spiritual and your physical, from your thought to your actions, your attitude to your behaviors. So when you go out here and you are led by negative things, envy, greed, lust, jealousy, all these other type of things, that's the type of fruit you're gonna produce. You jealous of your brother the whole time y'all eating together. Instead of you keeping it 100, you stab him in the back down the road. All of that started with a choice to want what he got, or to not get up and earn what you got, but be jealous of the next man and what he's doing. We all got choices from the moment of understanding to moving on. Like I said, we start doing this as a child. We start learning behaviors that are going to benefit us and how to control other people, all of these things to become master manipulators, so to speak. But what the new concept is trying to teach you is that there's a much more powerful approach than manipulation and brute force and guerrilla tactics. Instead, if we move in a more harmonious, positive, productive, more social, because social development is a part of our thing. If we be more social and involved in the community, and how do we do that? And this is, it also speaks on us, I think a little further down in the same page or on next page, that how do we keep our sense of uniqueness and yet also open up to the public? The only way to do that is through us. Like, we become mirror images of these principles that we stand on. So we are the reflection of our star. And okay, Brother Fee, I see Brother Fee coming in. Let me cut that short.
Okay, I want to say this here. This has been great. I'm gonna upgrade the Zoom so that we can get longer time. So for our next session, man. And I want to say this here to all of us. Thank each of us and yourselves for our participation. This has been great. It's been wonderful. So let's continue to do what we do, and let's get a lot more participation. Let's participate, because let's show the world who we are. That's our job, is to show the world who we are. not to keep things secret no more, but to bring them out so that the world can see the true essence of what growth and development is about. And on that note, I want to say this here. This has been an honor. And I would like for us to continue doing what we're doing. And I look forward to seeing us again. And like I said, I don't just want to be in teaching mode. I want all of us to be in teaching mode. Because once again, I want to say this here. I'm 54.